Have you ever seen a roo kick? Have you ever seen an emu run under the bright Aussie skies and said this year we'll be the one? Oi, oi, oi! What does it mean to be a part of a footy team? It's more than a game. The footy's in our veins. It's time to go. It's the Northern Footy Show. Get out of our way. We wanna see them play.
Good evening, all, and welcome to the Northern Footy Show on this freezing cold Sunday night. We're all still defrosting Bonners. It was a huge day yesterday, but most importantly, before we welcome Mark, have you thawed out? Because I've never been to a windier, colder, more frozen, bloody horrible rain day.
Mate, welcome to Preston. We've had plenty of days down there like that. So I think one day we actually had snow. It was actually white on the things, but it was that cold I couldn't even get my abuse out to you, or my lips froze at the wrong time. So that was the biggest disappointment out of yesterday. It was just, there were times where the sun came out and you thought, geez, I reckon we're going to thaw out here. Within 5 minutes, there was torrential rain, there was hail, and you just lost all feeling. So fantastic for all the people to stay out there yesterday to last till the end. It was worth staying there for sure.
Amazing.
But geez, I tell you what, that Preston ground just has that beautiful wind that comes all the way through, and there's just enough room for it.
I got to tell you, I agree. You touched on something I hadn't thought of. Nobody left. I didn't see anyone exit that game all the way to the end.
On both sides.
We'll take this opportunity to welcome Mark. But Mark, have you ever seen so many broken umbrellas in a day?
No, there was a few. I know even myself I had a few changes of clothes during the course of the day. I was hot, I was cold, I was wet, I was dry. I had sunglasses on, sunglasses off, hat on, hat off, hoodie on, hoodie off. So yeah, it's only in Melbourne, isn't it? Don't like the weather just like 15 minutes.
I found it amazing the amount of blokes that had shorts on, and then they had their beanies on and jackets on. It was a day even I wouldn't wear shorts yesterday. So it was just, I think it got to about 4 degrees halfway through the third quarter. So
comment of the day for me, I was standing on the other side of the ground on the non-populated side, just trying to focus on the game and take some notes. And I was over there, and the guy standing next to me was in shorts and thongs and a hoodie, which blew my mind. And I said to him, mate, aren't you freezing? And he goes, look, ironically, Jack Daniels works from my waist down. Mark, welcome to the show. You are a Premiership football operations manager, and you were already that from Division 3. But let me ask you, 700 days of football for you has seen you go from Division 3 to Division 1. I'm sure that's a feat that I just can't recall ever being achieved. Congratulations and well done.
Yeah, thank you very much. I know I was worried waking up this morning that I had a good dream, but I woke up this morning to lots of messages and just tracking back photos of people that took yesterday. Certainly memories that will last forever. That's a truly amazing feeling.
Check the 240-litre bins at the club. That will show you that it wasn't a dream. They are overflowing.
Yes, and another bar run, I think at about 8 o'clock to restock the fridge again. So there was lots of people there last night, which was tremendous.
Fantastic.
Congratulations, Mark, again, but not just the seniors as well. You've got a couple of premierships, and you came so bitterly close to the treble yesterday. So for the club in general, just a fantastic day. Must have been nice and quiet down at the rooms last night.
Yeah, I'm surprised you wouldn't have heard us from wherever you were. Maybe from Preston, they might have heard us as well. So it's as I said, it would have been nice for the 19s to get up. We've certainly had a very strong 19s team. I think we had 5 under-17s play yesterday as well in that team, and I think they've had 11 qualify during the course of the year. So hopefully, our club's going from strength to strength still. 13 of our senior players that played yesterday played in the 2022 Premiership in the seniors. I think we had another 5 play in the reserve. So, it's good that I think our age group of our players is probably just right to hit, hopefully, Division 1. They've got a little bit of experience. Probably, a little bit more experience is probably what's required to stay up from next year, which we'll be trying to recruit.
Stop reading our script, Mark. Stop reading your script.
No, it's all coming straight out of my mouth.
Mark, let me ask you about the game. I tipped Diamond Creek, as it's been heavily documented on Facebook over the last 24 hours. But I did write an article in the morning when I woke up and had a look at the weather and said this is the greatest even upper of all time, because I thought the rain would suit you guys a bit more, and it's only out of respect to Jules Dintasante, where she told me, do not tip us or I will kill you. But look, I did still think Dymo would get the job done, to be honest. So happy to put my hand up when I'm wrong, which seems to be every week. But I'll tell you what I was impressed with. I was extremely impressed with the dominance you had out of the centre. And for me, that's where you guys won the game. And the other thing that Bonners and I have spoken about, and I just want to go through these numbers that I've got here on my notes on my phone, is when you had the wind, you used it effectively, okay? So, you kicked 2 goals, 1 with the wind, and you kicked 4 goals, 3 with the wind, versus Diamond Creek kicking 2 goals, 7, and then what they kick in the other one, 5 goals, 2. And the truth is, the wind probably got a little bit stronger during the day. I know it was a bit messy and swirly, but it was very important to one side. But you won the ball out of the guts. For me, look, Nathan Stefanelli got the medal, didn't he?
Yep.
I thought Ty Hall was outstanding personally, and there'll always be nothing away from Nathan at all. He played an amazing game in the ruck. I just thought when the game was in the balance, for me, 4 players stood really, really tall there. And what I'd say to you is that I thought Ty Hall was outstanding. His leadership was, I don't know what the word is, it was monumental at the right time. Deacon Kalpakis's composure in that back line to see that ball out to the boundary line when it mattered was really, really important. JD's goal that put you back in front, that just... Jesus Christ, I've watched it 7 or 8 times, and how that guy bursts out of packs with the power he did, and you could tell in the celebration to the crowd how much he really wanted it. And the other person I thought was absolutely outstanding was Mitchell Kalpakis all day, though. I'm not going to define him to 2 minutes. His presence was really outstanding. I was really impressed with all of those guys. Now, everyone did an amazing job, don't get me wrong. But where do you think you guys won it? Because you really had to hold on, didn't you?
Well, look, Diamond Creek were flying home, and I think another couple of minutes we might have been in a bit more trouble. Obviously, that's what great teams do. They never stop trying till the end. I suppose when you have Nathan giving our on-ballers sort of first touch, certainly helps with having, Ty and Brownie. I think Kobe was in there for a little while, Kobe Davies, and Jesse, Adam. It certainly helps having a dominant ruckman like Nathan was yesterday, and I'm so proud of him to win the medal for best on ground. He missed out on our 2022 premiership after being at our club for a couple of years through suspension, so this probably meant so much more to him.
Yep.
Look, our defence has been really strong the whole year. I think we've had, and even looking back sometimes during the games, and you see about how the ball's delivered to the forward line, they make it so difficult for our forwards, but I think we've kicked the most score for during the whole course of the year. And sometimes our conversion hasn't been the best, but I think that's what probably cost Diamond Creek yesterday. We were obviously a lot more accurate. You kicked those goals that they probably should have kicked, and you're probably not interviewing me. You probably got Sean on the other end. So one area that I think we did improve was our accuracy at goals. But I think all round our 12 quarters of finals football has probably been the most ferocious football we've played all year. I think the pressure we've been able to put on all around the ground. Our forwards kept the ball in. Our defenders, worked hard to stop goals being kicked. And our midfield, again, second rate, mate, second rate. So just so proud of all of our players. That's hard to put into words still.
Just backing up on that, I felt we've seen 2 grand finals so far, and it's all about moments. And you guys, there was times to win a football, and there was times to shut down a game. And I just felt like that's when you guys had to do it. You definitely shut down the game you needed to. There was a couple of times I saw Diamond Creek were 1 handball away from, and they were out the front. So to shut down games like that. But as you said, for me, the final so far is to come down to 2 things, which is discipline, and you guys were just impeccable yesterday, and your conversion, as you said. So suddenly if you kick 2 goals, 5 or something in the third quarter, it really starts to come back to them. So massive congratulations to the boys. But just quickly on the 2 Kalpakis boys, I found them just the biggest part of yesterday. Every time, if one didn't get you, the other did. It was the old Lilly and Thompson theory that, if Deek didn't get you, Will did. So, but I thought Deacon's composure coming out, but Will's ability just to spoil and just get that hand in, I thought was actually the difference in the second quarter. So I know it says 2-7, but I reckon sometimes that it can be inflated from where they're having shots at goal. And I just reckon you pushed those guys to the pocket, and those 2 boys were just impeccable.
Yeah, they're very solid defenders. I think Deacon being at Coburg, obviously learning, at a higher level, brings all that experience back to him, even though he's a young man. And you know what you're going to get from him and Mitch. They're ever reliable.
Sorry, my apologies.
Ever reliable, both defenders. And I'm fortunate enough not tall enough to play as a key forward, but I would be hate to be playing on them. Very strong, read the play so well. Our whole our back 7 that have played most of the year have been tremendous. So, and they're probably the two generals of the back line. Certainly control that part of the ground. And as we know, most of the goal setups are set up from sort of the back line. And I'm sure they got a lot of the work that those 2 boys have done have set up goals down the other end.
I'm going to stuff this up, Mark, because my pronunciation all year has been.
That's a good start.
Shut up! You just called Mitch Will.
Not even pronunciation.
But my pronunciation, which will go with pronunciation. James, is it Trianu?
Trianu,
mate, amazing. The amount of, he's a tough little bugger. I've seen him with about 6 or 7 amazing rib punches, like fair in the contest, but I love it. Geez, a tough little bugger. If he bailed me up in the street, I'd be running as quick as I could the other way, which isn't very fast. And is Teague Van Zwienen?
Yes.
Is that? Did I get that?
Oh, really did. Yeah, you got it right.
Absolute superstar. He's tough little bugger, man. He puts his head over absolutely everything. There's actually something else just come through as well here from Gary, and he's spot on. Like the hit, mate. These boys are so good. Like I thought the spread of South Morang was very, very, very good, and I'm sure that I'm not putting words in everyone's mouth, but I'm sure Gary Hall would have gone into that game thinking, yes, we're the underdog. If there was a sports book on it, I reckon Diamond Creek would have been $1.20. You guys would have been about $1.85. The rain might have brought it back a bit. But one thing Gary Hall seems to have under control is to get the absolute best out of everyone, doesn't he?
He certainly does. Look, he's reinvented himself. I think I might have said last week, 1999 he started coaching. I think that's when a lot of our boys were born or not even born. He probably was an old-fashioned coach a few years ago. He's learned a lot. He studies a lot of the game. And as you said, he does get all the best out of every player. He knows how to press the right buttons. He's not one of those guys that blast players. He's cool and calculated. Very good strategic mind he's got.
Let me ask you a quick question because I want to ask you, Bonners. So South Morang go up. We've seen the jump, Bonners, is tough. We've seen sides go up, come down, go up, come down. In your opinion, you played a lot of good footy. Well, so your mum tells me, but you played a lot of good footy. Let me ask you, what does South Morang have to do to not bounce straight back down? Because to me, the gap between Division 1 and 2 is huge. I think, this is my opinion, if Bundura, Eltham, or McLeod, we'll say the bottom three of this season, played yesterday's side at South Morang. I think there's somewhere between 6 and 10 goals difference as it sits, as the difference. So what do they need to do? That's no disrespect to either of them. But what do they need? What do they need to do to stay up in 2025 in Division 1? Because their plan won't be to bounce back down. I'm certain of that, Mark, as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, look, for me, it's the big boys. It's your centre half forward, your centre half back. You need that really big forward to kick to. You need a couple of big stocky on ballers. I think I've been all year the same thing. Contested possession in Divi 1 footy is massively different to Divi 2. The skills are still the same. Blokes can still hit targets. Bloke can still kick goals, but it's your first use. So you need those couple of big bodies to help out your on ballers like your Halls and stuff like that, who are nuggety type players, but a couple of big boys up forward. If you look at the Heidelberg teams, you look at, we've spoken about North Heidelberg all year with Parker. They just need the big boys to try and compete, just to have experience. And unfortunately, when you do go into a Division 1, you're probably going to have to sacrifice a couple of kids up and down to try and bring that experience in. And I think Mark will understand that, experience is something that is a massive difference in Divi 1. So if I'm South Morang, I'm looking for blokes around 26, 27, couple of big guys and a couple of bigger on ballers. So I don't think they need too much. The young kids, as I said, will develop over the year. But if you want to be in there and keep your position in Divi 1, you can't kind of get these guys experience as much as what you would in Divi 2. You need to get those blokes around them to actually bring them up to the same level. So I think it's the first time in Divi 1 or first time in Divi 1 since 1980 or something, Muskie, yeah?
Yeah, I think we were in Division 1 in 1980 when there was one division. So,
when I was born, which is not that's a scary thought.
I can't say we're in Division 1, but I will.
So you probably don't know the answer to that, Muskie, but that will get spoken about very quickly at a board level there, where as football operations manager, I know if I'm in your position, I'm already thinking about that. Unfortunately for you, at 4:31 yesterday, you're in, oh shit, all right, we've got to get our head in the game. Unfortunately, you don't get to celebrate as long.
No. We've started work already. We obviously our planning process. We probably thought within 3 to 5 years we could get into Division 1. It's obviously got us up a little bit earlier than what we thought, but we'll certainly grab this opportunity. Obviously, if you know of any players, Bonners, that's looking for a game in Division 1, by all means, pass my number on. Those tall forwards or backs or a stocky midfielder that you might know, please pass my number on.
You'll be astonished to find that there's players that are on the fringe of top of teams in the Divi 1 who are looking for games every week. So I think when you're looking at those, everyone tries to go for the big fish, but you just need those guys that are in and out of say Heidelberg or North Heidelberg, even teams from other leagues where they're just on the fringe. For me, that's the players you target, because not only will they have the experience, but they'll have that hunger to stay in a Division 1 side. So that's to me, my advice would be that they're the guys that you tend to look after. I know that, the Preston boys as well come back to Northern Footy League if they can't get a game. So there's plenty of fish out there. You've just got to kind of have a look at where you need to do and use your links onto, where the players want to play.
Yeah, certainly do. Yeah. I know, from actually having a look yesterday, I know it's really important for our club to stay up. So 18 of the 22 players that played yesterday played juniors at our club. So, which is awesome. And that's the way it should be. That's where majority of your players will come from. It's just those 3 or 4 you need to top up. You don't have to turn your list over. You just need those extra big bodies just to compete against the Heidelberg's such a different team to to a Diamond Creek, or even, today, Monty versus Greensboro. If you look at some of these guys, these are men against, boys sometimes. So I think you just need to top up with those big boys.
Yeah, Muskie, I don't know if you know the answer to this, so question without notice, but I stopped counting at 10. How many players playing Division 1 football in 2024 are currently playing that started their junior career at South Morang? I stopped at 10.
Yeah, I think you're close to the mark. There might be a couple more. I know I've obviously just had a bit of a look around, and I suppose Big Footy's been good for a little bit of a catch-up on that sort of stuff. I think they're up to
one of the few I don't
12. Yeah, So there's about 12 players, I think, that they said played juniors at our club that that are playing Division 1 or Division 2 football
So
elsewhere.
Will Cookson would be one. Blake Fitzgerald would be another. Yep. Obviously, I don't want to get shot for doing this, but my son, who's at Bundoora, Josh Collins at Bundoora, and Luke Lavolvo at Bundoora. I think there's a couple more. I did start to write it down, but there's so many South Morang people that you get back.
A couple more at Hurst Bridge. I think Cam and Mitch Wild.
Oh, yep. Yes, they are too. Both those boys are Morang boys.
Yeah. Brody Bell at North Heidelberg.
Yeah, Brody, we know Brody from the cricketing days, so I knew he was a South Morang boy.
Jordan Steele from Montmorency. I wish you had to give me a bit more warning. I would have looked a little. Oh, yeah, go Sam Indian. He's outside. So thanks, Scott, for putting that up.
So we're at 11, and you're not trying. 11 guys that have played Division 1, or at Division. I think most of them, except for maybe Sam Indian, who aren't currently in the league. But, I mean, jeepers, if you can hang on and start to get a few of those boys back, I mean, most of them will be committed for next year, I would have thought already, unless you have breaking news for us, of course.
Nothing breaking yet, but I'll certainly let you know. Jesse Thompson's another one from Montmorency. Yep.
There you go. Webby didn't miss a beat there. Yeah. Webby, are you sober already? I'm a bit disappointed, buddy. I seen the family photo of Jules, Webby, and JD. Magical. Yeah. I didn't realise he'd never won a senior flag.
Yeah, no, it's remarkable, I suppose, isn't it, to see the quality of what Morris was playing, and now JD's following or making his own memories there, really, isn't he?
I could speak footy with you all day, but you lose two of those boys straight away in JD and Deacon straight back to Coburg. So they're two people you got to replace straight away. But we wish you the best. Now, Muskie, you've become a bit of a star on the show 2 weeks in a row. You turn up a little bit more often than Bonners. But what we're going to do is we're going to keep you here. If you don't have to be anywhere, we're going to talk the rest of the results.
Just quickly before you go on, sorry, me and Daz we get picked on as Bundoora boys, but a lot of our cricketing career pretty much was through South Morang. So what I loved yesterday is I walked from one pocket to the other pocket. I reckon I spoke to 15 people at South Morang that I just hadn't seen in ages. To see the excitement and the joy on these guys. I didn't get to see Westie, which probably made my day. So, but everyone else I got to see. It was really good to see all the guys we play cricket with. So we have a really big soft spot for South Morang and all the boys that are there. So like we couldn't be happier to see you guys in Divi 1 and to see, I saw a couple of the old guys like Freddie Bassett and all that sitting at the club last night. It was just great to see some of these guys being able to see Divi 1 footy for South Morang. I mean, this is something 5 years ago these blokes wouldn't have even thought of. So massive congrats. And to all the guys out there that we know, we couldn't be happy for you.
Except for Westie. I couldn't give a crap.
Except for Westie. Westie's just an asterisk no matter what.
Gary Hall in his speech, I think after the game, he mentioned about obviously where the club's been and the beltings that we used to cop. Hopefully we're not going to be on the end of them too many more times. But, there's our first time in Division 1 in 70 years. Certainly a great way to celebrate our 70th year anniversary.
Amazing. I'll give you another big name that was on my in my brain that just came to me. Division 1 dominating through the centre, Ben Fisher.
Oh, yes, another one. Didn't ever think of that name.
Played in the same side as Brandon in your under 9s and 10s, I think it was, before Brandon disappeared to soccer. And Morris has just given us an update on his health. He's not in good shape. The voice is gone. He got on the microphone last night with JD.
I actually saw that. I saw a bit of that.
I seen him singing on a video last night. Yeah, he was it was entertaining. Very entertaining.
I think if you just check your email, I think Daz has just sent through his resume to be your recruiting manager. So I think that's what he's getting at. He's just trying to get paid for what he's doing.
My Bundoora connection. Definitely not. Definitely not. I said to Brandon, Brandon last night, I'm glad you re-signed already because your phone would have been running hot pretty quick.
I did have a chat with Brandon before the game too. So
I
suppose it's just great support from the whole league. I think numerous players from other clubs have reached out to people from our club, congratulating us. I think hopefully any poor reputation that we may have had has certainly gone now. We're there to play football. We're there to be a great community club.
The truth is, ever since Westy got teeth, the club's gone up in value. He's going to punch the shit out of me soon. All right, Muskie, you also won another flag in the seconds yesterday. Yep. Let's talk about that. So that was a belter of a game, mate. I was up in the stands. It was a cliffhanger. South Marine 5-6-36 beat Diamond Creek 4-7-31. Inaccurate kicking again, maybe by Dymo, but close game. I thought he'd come down to the wire, and the elation of I seen Trent Harvey go off his absolute dial, and so deserved so, because he was in your last premiership, and he's a great kid. He's what South Marine talk about, a kid that just hangs around. If you ask him to sweep the floors, he'll sweep the floor. You ask him to play ones, he'll play ones. And I've seen guys like Sammy Hutton there yesterday, obviously Brando, all of the kids that have come from there, which is, a little bit of a footy factory, but the results you got. So that's another good premiership for you. And unfortunately, the 19s didn't go your way, but St. Mary's really had the perfect season, 8-11-59 to your 4-4-28. But, there's some other great kids coming through that 19 side. There's some real talent in that side as well, isn't there?
There certainly is, and we had two under-17s this year, so we're looking at a number of those players coming up to the 90s this year, with the possibility we may have two under-19 teams next year. And I think there's only maybe 7 of those under-19s from this year that will be too old to go up for 19s next year. So it's been a great breeding ground. Obviously, a lot of our senior players have come through the 19s as well. But with the reserves, there's a lot of good people playing in our club, good club people that love the place, love being part of the club, love the teammates. It was tremendous to have both seniors and reserves win both times in 2 years ago and yesterday. Certainly made the celebrations even more enjoyable.
Yeah. But just quickly, what changed what had to change 5 years ago for you to be in this position now? I mean, we talk about clubs have to change, you bring people in, but there's got to be someone had to sit there and go, you know what, I think we've had to do things a little bit different. So what changed in that period to actually get to where you are now? I mean, you look at the end result, but for me, I've always found intriguing the journey. So what do you think changed, and how did it change? Who sat down and said we had to do it, and what kind of people were you looking to bring into the club?
Oh, look, I suppose off the field, I think we've got things right the last few years. I think we've had some tremendous support off the field. It was really important that we got out of Division 3. I think that first year out of Division 3, I think we got about half a dozen ex-juniors to come back that have had that higher experience to come and hopefully help out to get us to where we are now. And I think it's just a lot of the credit's got to go to Gary and the players. They worked hard. I'm not saying that any other club doesn't work hard, but I know, I'm at training all the time. I see how hard they work, and the bond and the friendship is remarkable. You see them; they are genuine mates playing football together to care for each other, and I think that shows off the field, and it definitely shows on the field how much they care for each other. So it might have just been a bit of an attitude change by the players. We just got to get out of Division 3, and it was a hard-fought win against Lorimer to get out of Division 3. And we certainly haven't looked back since then.
There was a comment from another mate of mine and Bonner's yesterday, Joel Bassett, Nudge, who said that there should be a statue erected out the front of Gary Hall. Got to tell you, it's not an unreasonable comment. I mean, we're probably not at statue status. If he wins Division 1 in the next 3 or 4 years, maybe. He will clearly stay on, though, Mark. He has no intention to step down, surely.
No, I think our president told him yesterday that he'll be coaching next year. So, he's a remarkable leader of men,
so quiet.
Young men. He's just remarkable what he can do, and he's obviously the instruction that he has, the game plan that he has set up, the communication he has with the players. If I was to change jobs and he was my boss, I think I'd be pretty happy.
No, 100%.
I don't know about the statue, mate. It's taken ages, and I still haven't got my name on the stand at Preston. So it's a pretty slow process there, Muskie. So
yeah, I think he'd be very worthy of a statue on Lakes Boulevard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Without a doubt.
100%. Now, let's just talk about the other games from the weekend. Muskie, jump in wherever you want here. But so today we've seen the seniors, Montmorency, 8-10-58, defeated Greensborough in a nail-biter, 8-8-56. I keep saying nail-biter in all of my posts, but the truth is every final has been outstanding. The NFNL must be over the moon. That was probably the expected result for me, as in the win, but I thought it would be 30, 40 points. Boys, I mean, I don't know how much you follow it, Muskie.
Yeah, I was having a quick check of the scores during the day. I saw Greensborough were well ahead at one stage, and then sort of checked a little bit later, and then Montmorency were back in front. So must have been, hopefully one of the sides used the win better than the other. That's what might have got them over the line.
Yeah, look, I think we've, from the start of the year, we've had from 2 to 6 was always going to be whoever performed on the day. And last week, we saw North Heidelberg didn't use the wind well. They didn't take their chances, and Greensborough did. So today, looking at it, it might have been, Monty but we say it every year, they've been up there close enough, but they haven't been able to go the full way. So they'd be really keen on this. But I know Matty Hyde would be absolutely shattered being that close, 2 points, but not going through to a grand final, because they are the only team to have beaten Heidelberg this year. So I reckon they probably would have fancied themselves a little bit.
Yeah, I think in Heidelberg got seniors, reserves, and 19s in the grand final next week.
Yeah,
Montmorency got seniors and reserves, so the top of the table's sort of pretty outstanding, isn't it?
They've done what you've done, but just a division up.
So, yeah.
Well, being a Heidelberg player, I'm pretty happy to see Heidelberg in another flag. Hopefully, it's the year of the Lion and the Tigers again.
Well, we'll talk about that in one sec, what happens there. But let's talk about the reserves first today. Heidelberg 16-8-104 defeated Greensborough. Oh, was it Greensborough? I might have that wrong. Sorry, I haven't written it down.
Greensborough.
Yeah. 6-3-39. That was a bit of a decimation. They've come out and gone bang. So, and as you said, all three of them are in there. It just makes for a huge, huge effort. And 19s, Diamond Creek got up in a thriller over North Heidelberg, 8-11-59 to North Heidelberg, 7-7-49. I'm not going to talk about that game, but the Heidelberg as a club, Mark, I mean, I've had the luxury before this year starting the footy show with Bonners, who's good mates with Vin Toli, which really questions Vin's credibility of friendship. But I find that man mesmerizing. There's not too many people in my life that I could sit there and listen to like they're telling a bedtime story when they speak. And he's short and sharp and direct to the point. There's got to be a soft side under there, but his knowledge of football and the way he speaks about it, every club must look at him as a bit of a messiah at the moment for what they're doing. You can say they've got money and all of that crap, but money doesn't guarantee you anything in football premierships. We've seen that happen this year with a couple of sides. They're hard to buy, Mark.
They are. They certainly are. Look, obviously, it's been very difficult for me to get back to watch a Heidelberg game apart from a grand final when our season's been finished. I've certainly been able to try and sneak in a little bit close to the huddle to listen to him talk. And remarkable man again, is just another person that can speak astutely to get the best out of his players. Certainly happy having good players to work with, but someone's got to drive the bus and make sure that they can get the best out of him. And I think he does that so well.
Yeah,
how do you let this bloke stay at your club?
It didn't start that way. Trust me. Well, I got him when he was fresh, and I've copped more sprays from that man. So I'm taking a little bit of the credit of his current coaching ability because, I copped some of his great stuff.
Yeah, obviously playing against him, he was certainly pretty tough to play against too.
Yeah.
Mark, how do we get rid of this bloke out of the club? Can we petition it? How do we go about it? What are we going to do to get rid of him?
Well, I think you said he was our good luck charm, wasn't he? So when he had his teeth fixed, the club went well. So I don't want him to go. He has to stay.
Oh, my goodness. I can't hate him too much. He sponsored the show this year for the tipping competition alongside with
very good man. Very good
Wayne.
man.
He is a good man. We just like picking. He's someone we can get away with. I'm trying to think who did the big footy show have the Channel 9 footy show have Bonners as their kick around? Was it Croft or someone like that?
Croft was a clown, and I think David Schwartz was the one that was too serious. So I don't think he's either. I don't think he's any of them. He's probably more Trevor Marmalade if you're going to have anyone. So yeah.
So let's talk about the games next weekend, and I'm going to drag you in for a tip on all of these as well, Mr. Musket. But so in the under-19s, Heidelberg will take on Diamond Creek, and that's 1v2. I need a tip and a margin, boys.
I'll go Heidelberg by 11.
Heidelberg by 11.
It looks like it's still going to be a bit rainy next week, so I reckon it'll be Heidelberg I still reckon it'll be about 3 goals, but yeah, it might come into it again next week as well.
I'm going to go the Creekers by a point.
Well,
I reckon just because I'm different.
I was about to say, is Jess in your ear saying you can't keep tipping against them? Or?
Can't upset everyone. I've done a good job of it this year. Reserves, Montmorency take on Heidelberg, and that's 2nd v 3rd. Although I think I've got it back to front by 1. I think it was actually Heidelberg that finished 2nd and Montmorency finished 3rd. So, boys, what do you got for me?
Well, with Montmorency beating them last week, going straight into the grand final, I think the tables will get turned, and I reckon Heidelberg might win by 21.
Yeah. I think it's hard to look past now. Now we're on grand final day. Everyone's fully fit, ready to go. They would have seen their under-19s probably have a win, so I reckon they're going to win by about 5 goals.
Yep. I think, the weather just seems to be this amazing factor. I know it's a week away, who knows, but it's the greatest evener upper of all time. And I actually think, and I'll go early on this for, just Heidelberg, they're just going to have a big day, I think, and I think they'll get their seconds and first home. So I'll go Heidelberg in that. Then we go to the big game. This isn't a matter, well, if anyone's brave enough to tip Mont, go for your life. But I'll start by saying I think Heidelberg get this done, and I think pretty easy. I think it's going to be about 32 points, very similar to last year. Montmorency, great time though. Here's one for you, Mont. Whoever I tip generally loses, and I'm tipping Heidelberg, so Vin might not be too happy with me. But Montmorency, for me, are someone in their very best game can do something special. You know yourself, Mark and Bonners, you've both played in the big dance. Anything can happen on the day, but I'm going to go with Heidelberg by 30-odd.
Yeah, I think they'll be too strong. I think, obviously, they had that one little hiccup against Greensboro. I think generally when they put their foot down, I think they'll put their foot down, I reckon, by about 41.
Yeah, I'm around the same mark. I reckon 7 or 8 goals. I think if it is wet, I actually think that's going to link them better. I think they're probably the best contested team I've seen play football. So, if it's tough and hard, they'll understand the wind as well. So, you've got such talent coming off halfback. They've got the big boys in the middle and so many targets up forward. So, being there last year, they're doing it again. They just know when to do it at the right time.
Yeah, apart from the middle of the ground, even with the rain yesterday, I think the ground was in pretty good condition. Like the ball was
just
sliding
a little bit muddy in
sometimes,
the middle, but
bouncing as well.
Yeah,
I think it'll be more suited to Heidelberg.
Mark, let me ask you, what other than the grand final, which you've won, what was your highlight of your year? What this guy's a superstar, Pete Rawley. I ran into him at the Pisser yesterday. Yeah. What a reputable bloke he is, but he's such a great president. I'm a big fan of Pete Rawley. What was your highlight of the year other than that? Generally, it can be something funny that's happened or a moment that defined the season. What was it for you that sticks in your brain?
I think probably the highlight was maybe our first win against Diamond Creek. I think that that was something that I think it was 24 years. I know we haven't been in the same divisions with each other, but that was a pretty hard fought game. Sort of maybe put a bit of belief back into the players. We can match it with the top teams. We only lost by a goal to Whittlesea as well. As they were our 2 losses that we had prior to the last game against Diamond Creek. But yeah, I reckon that probably was a defining moment. Diamond Creek and Whittlesea are certainly the standout teams in our division. So to come up against them, and we played them, week after week. I think that might have been the turning point to realise that we can match it with the big boys when we play our best football. But certainly, it's a year of highlights. With our juniors, we won 4 premierships in our juniors. Numerous players at the league presentation. We got a few going Wednesday night to the league presentation. Our senior women had a great season, our first year back. Making the finals. As I said, having the juniors, the 4 out of 5 premierships that we played in, and now to give our juniors somewhere to go and play, not to worry about going to a Division 1 club. They've already had a Division 1 club, so yeah, they're probably the standouts for me this year.
Yeah.
Now, Mark, I'm a Brisbane man, so last night my heart rate got to about 340. So can you explain how high yours got? I don't even play for this side. I have nothing to do with them. I just barracked for them. And I still got up to 300 beats per minute. How were you in the last couple of minutes yesterday? It must have been, could hear your heartbeat through your ears, no doubt.
Oh, there was, well, that kept me warm. So I think I had more sweat than tears at the end of the game because it was racing my heartbeat. So, and it was funny last night at the club. I think Danaher took that mark at the end, and we lost signal on Foxtel. So there was a couple of people that grabbed their phones and they started cheering because before the footy came back, they'd know who he kicked the goal. So it was a good Lions day yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, very nice. I appreciate South Marine setting it up for last night. I wouldn't have had any hope in hell had they not won it. So, yeah.
Now, gentlemen, that is going to bring us to a close of the show. Muskie, hang around. I need to speak to you offline about something else. Muskie, your major sponsors this year, before we go, anyone you want to thank? This is a great platform for you to do it.
Certainly, obviously, our jumper sponsors, Commercial Hotel, Funfields, Glenrich Builders, Plenty Mowers. I think we've got. So they're the ones I can sort of remember off the top of my head that have done a remarkable job, supporting our club. No doubt there'll be a knock on their door or a phone call coming very soon to make sure they're supporting us next year. It's, as I said, and from me personally to Gary and Freckle, Brad, and the assistant coach of the reserves, to Rod from the 19s and assistant coaches, to the whole club. This has been one hell of a ride, and as I said, I'm not going to wake up tomorrow and it's still a dream, is it? It did happen.
Not a dream.
It's all yours.
It's real.
And now, even I spoke to my son yesterday and I said, how does this sound? I said, you're now a dual premiership player.
Yeah, amazing.
And have 13 of them played yesterday as, 2 premierships in 2 years. I'm just so proud of this playing group of our whole club. It's just such a great place to be at. The whole environment is lovely, from the 7-year-olds to the 70-year-olds. The doors open from all, and I think they're all very welcome, and they know they're welcome.
Yeah. There's a picture up on our social media that Bonners has already seen. Mitchell Kalpakis and a couple of the boys have impersonated me and Bonners. Yes. And when Mitchie asked me the other day, he came into the office and grabbed their microphones and checked that we were okay with it. And of course we are. The problem is, we were never that thin, or I certainly can't remember the last time I was that thin. And they're doing a good job from our perspective, from a footy show perspective. We try to be as even as we can and get around to do and see as many as we can. And every time we've asked for your assistance this year or to get involved, and certainly Deeks and JD have been a big part of it. Yourself, we're absolutely stoked. Which is great. Now, we're going to wrap the show up. Next week is our final show, Mr. Bonadeo. You and I get a break from each other for about 4 months before all the craziness begins, and we'll talk about a couple of the big Christmas moves. I know. I'm ecstatic. I'm just about had a gut full of you. The clearer camera, to be honest, that you've got now has made it worse because your face is more clearer. So
keep that beard, mate. Covers more of your face. Don't worry about
it. No, I do. I grow it further down. I hide the chins. But I think from our perspective, Mark, thanks heaps for being a part of the show. Hang around for 2 seconds when I end the stream. And to everyone that tuned in and gave comments, I do the statistics on Facebook every week. Our engagement from South Morang in the finals series, just South Morang, this will blow your mind, has just kicked over 200,000 views. So wonderful. If you want to know how big your supporter basis is, amazing.
Yeah, you do a wonderful job, as I said, bringing the community football to everyone's lounge rooms. It's a remarkable job what you two have done. It's tremendous. So I really appreciate what you've done for our club and done for the community football in general.
On that note, while we're getting credit for the first time this year, we're going to go, and we'll see you next week. And until next week, ladies and gentlemen, keep kicking goals.